I'm giving you a chance to make love to me, human. Do it now. The silence inside the holding chamber was the kind that seemed to hum, a low resonance of alien machinery hidden behind walls that looked too smooth, too flawless to be real. Daniel sat chained to a chair that resembled something out of a nightmare dentist's office, his wrists bound by glowing cuffs that smelled faintly like ozone. He had been captured before, in simulations, in war games back on Earth, but never in reality. The thought that he was now sitting in the belly of a Ledhari battleship was both terrifying and, if he was honest, a little impressive. He shifted against the restraints and muttered under his breath. So this is how it ends, huh? Not with a bang, not with a bullet, but with me stuck in what looks like an IKEA chair designed by sadists. The door hissed open. It didn't swing, didn't creak, didn't even make sense in terms of geometry. One moment it was seamless wall, the next it was a portal, and through it walked the figure he had seen on the battlefield. Commander Alira. She moved like gravity itself, bent politely out of her way. Armor clung to her tall frame, plates of dark silver etched with glowing veins that pulsed faintly, in rhythm with her own body. The first thing Daniel noticed, besides the fact that she could probably snap him in half, was her ears. Long, elegant, sharp, twitching slightly as though they caught vibrations no human could hear. Her glowing eyes locked on him, and he felt the air thicken. She stood there in silence for a long moment, studying him as if weighing the entirety of humanity on his slouched shoulders. Human, she said at last, her voice steady measured. You are mine now. Daniel blinked. Define mine. Because last time I checked, my mom owns my baby pictures, the army technically owns my body, and Netflix owns my weekends. Her ears flicked. He couldn't tell if that meant annoyance or amusement. Your species has fought bravely, she continued. But bravery is not enough. Strength is not enough. What we seek is proof of worthiness. Proof that you can merge. Merge? Daniel raised an eyebrow. Like Wi-Fi networks. Because, full disclosure, I'm terrible at remembering passwords. For the first time, her composure cracked. A ghost of a smile touched her lips, though her eyes remained fierce. She stepped closer, the pulse of her armor sinking with the rhythm of her breath. With one smooth motion, she unlatched part of her chest plate, letting it slide open. The faint glow of her skin beneath was almost luminescent, painted in shades of blue that seemed alive. Daniel swallowed. Okay, I just want to clarify. Is this the part where you dissect me? Or is this the part where I'm supposed to buy you dinner first? You have one chance, Alira said. Her voice, though still calm, carried something beneath it, longing, pride, and a flicker of something else he couldn't name. Her breath hitched as she leaned closer, her face inches from his. One chance to prove your species is worthy. He stared at her glowing eyes, at the strange vulnerability hiding under layers of command and duty. His brain screamed at him to shut up, to treat this like the serious, history-defining moment it was. Unfortunately, his mouth never got the memo. So, he said carefully, just to be clear, is this like a job interview? Because if it is, I should warn you, I'm really bad at answering the, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Question. Her eyes narrowed, but not with anger. She was curious now, her long ears tilting slightly toward him, as though catching the strange rhythms of his humor. She reached out, touching the edge of the glowing cuffs around his wrists. With a faint hum, they dissolved into nothing, leaving his hands free. He rubbed his wrists, still half expecting her to vaporize him on the spot. Thanks. Didn't think galactic overlords cared much about circulation. You mock, Alira said. Her tone was sharp, but her lips curved again, the barest hint of something warm. Yet you do not fear. Oh, I fear plenty, Daniel replied. I'm just really good at hiding it under bad jokes. It's kind of my superpower. She tilted her head, regarding him with that same storm in her eyes. Then use it. Use what makes you human. Show me. Daniel hesitated, heart thudding in his chest. Was she really asking what he thought she was asking? He had expected interrogation, torture, maybe even execution. Not this. Not an alien commander stripping away her armor. Trembling slightly, giving him what sounded suspiciously like an invitation. He ran a hand through his hair, trying to buy time. You know, when I signed up for the army, they never mentioned interspecies diplomacy in the training manual. Pretty sure my drill sergeant would have had a stroke if he knew this was an option. Lyra's eyes softened, her prideful mask slipping for just a moment. She closed her armor halfway, as if shielding herself from rejection. Then refuse, human. But if you do, your people remain unproven. Daniel exhaled, a shaky laugh, breaking the tension. Well, damn. No pressure, huh? He looked at her, really looked. Not at the glowing eyes, or the long ears, or the alien beauty that seemed too sharp for Earth, but at the flicker of vulnerability she tried so hard to bury. She wasn't asking as a commander. She was asking as someone standing on the edge of loneliness, searching for connection in the middle of endless war. And suddenly, his choice didn't feel like duty. It felt like something more. Slowly, carefully, Daniel stood from the chair. His legs trembled, but he forced a grin. All right then, Commander. I'll play along. But fair warning, I've been told my flirting style is about 50% charm and 50% bad movie quotes. Her ears flicked again, and this time, unmistakably, she smiled. A real smile, bright enough to soften even the glow of her eyes. Then begin, human, she whispered. Daniel took a deep breath, stepped closer, and thought, well, this is definitely going to make one hell of a story if I live to tell it. Daniel had never been this close to someone who could kill him with a single gesture and still manage to look like she was considering asking about his favorite color. He tried not to stare at Lyra's half-open armor, glowing faintly like a living lantern, and instead focused on the fact that she was still watching him as if he were a puzzle box she couldn't quite solve. So, he scratched at his neck, avoiding her gaze for a beat. When you said, prove my species is worthy, what exactly are the grading criteria? Are we talking written exam, oral presentation, maybe an interpretive dance routine? Lyra's ears twitched, her expression carved from discipline, but softened by the faintest trace of amusement. You jest, but you understand more than you pretend. The Ledhari seek a bridge. Our sciences tell us your species may offer balance, strength without cruelty, emotion without chaos. To test this, we need union. Daniel whistled. Right, union. And here I was, worried you were going to ask me to solve alien math problems. This is better. Maybe worse. Depends on how many of your people are watching, honestly. She didn't answer, though her glowing eyes shifted briefly toward the ceiling, as if aware that the ship itself might be listening. Then she leaned closer. This chamber is sealed. My command knows nothing of what I ask. If they did, her words trailed, but the unspoken threat hung heavy in the air. Daniel cleared his throat. Okay, so top-secret alien-human bonding session. Got it. I'll keep it between us. Wouldn't want the galaxy gossiping about my love life. Her gaze lingered on him, sharp and unblinking, but she didn't push him away. Instead, she motioned to a panel at the side of the chamber. The wall shifted, opening into what looked like a table covered in crystalline objects that pulsed with soft light. She picked one up, a shard of translucent material, and held it between them. This, she said, is a memory crystal. It records moments, emotions, impressions. If you choose to proceed, what happens here will be preserved. For us. For those who come after. Proof. Daniel groaned. Oh, fantastic. So not only is this an interspecies experiment, it's also being recorded. Great. Just what I needed, alien home movies. The corners of her lips curved upward again, faint but genuine. You fear mockery more than death. Hey, death is quick. Embarrassment lasts forever. He gave her a crooked grin. I'm human. It's how we're wired. She placed the crystal back onto the table, her movements deliberate, almost ritualistic. Then she returned her gaze to him. You joke, but the choice is real. You can walk away. I will not stop you. But if you stay, you must accept what it means. Your body, your mind, entwined with mine. No armor, no pretense, nothing hidden. He tried to swallow, but his throat was suddenly dry. Yeah, well, nothing like skipping a few steps. Most humans start with coffee before getting to the whole mind-entwining thing. Alira tilted her head. Coffee. All right. You wouldn't know. It's like a dark, bitter liquid that makes humans feel alive and also ruins our sleep schedules. Honestly, it's the closest thing we have to a religion. She studied him with that same penetrating focus, as though she were dissecting the idea itself. Strange. You make rituals of consumption. We make rituals of joining. Perhaps not so different. Daniel exhaled slowly, trying to shake the weight pressing down on him. So if I go through with this, it's not just about, physical stuff. It's about blending our species. Like a cosmic smoothie. Smoothie. Never mind. He laughed nervously. Just imagine fruits being blended together. Two things becoming one. Her ears flicked again, the alien equivalent of a raised eyebrow. Then yes, a smoothie. For the first time, Daniel chuckled without forcing it. All right, well, when you put it like that, it doesn't sound so terrifying. She took a step closer, and this time he didn't back away. Her hand, cool and steady, reached out to brush against his cheek. The contact was electric, not painful, but overwhelming, like standing too close to a storm. Images flickered in his mind, stars bursting, alien cities singing with light, shadows of her memories rushing past his thoughts. He gasped. Whoa, you didn't even buy me dinner first. Alira's voice was low, almost trembling. This is only the beginning. He looked at her, really looked, at the way she tried to hide her own uncertainty under layers of pride. And in that moment, he realized she wasn't testing him just for science or species or duty. She was testing herself too. Daniel forced a grin, partly to steady his nerves, partly because humor was the only weapon he had left. Okay then, Commander. If I'm going to be humanity's ambassador to your smoothie ritual, I'm going to need you to promise me one thing. Her glowing eyes narrowed. What? That this won't involve anchovies. I can handle alien experiments, but anchovies are where I draw the line. For the first time, she laughed. Not a small smile, not a faint curve of lips, but a sharp, bright laugh that seemed to echo through the chamber. And somehow, hearing it made the war outside, the danger, the uncertainty, all feel just a little lighter. Daniel breathed in, bracing himself for what came next. All right, he said softly. Let's see if we can make this work. And as Alira's hand slid into his, glowing faintly where their skin touched, Daniel realized that whatever test this was, whatever impossible challenge he had stumbled into, he wasn't walking away. Not now. Not ever. Daniel hadn't expected the after effects. The moment their hands touched, it was like someone had plugged his brain into an alien power grid. His memories flickered in and out, childhood bike crashes, late-night video game marathons, the time he'd embarrassed himself in front of his entire squad by slipping on cafeteria mashed potatoes. All of it, flashing like broken film reels, but with Alira's presence weaving through them. He could feel her watching, not with eyes, but with her mind, sorting through the chaos of his life, as if flipping through a very confusing human manual. He pulled back with a gasp. Okay, so note to self. Alien mind melding is like binge-watching your own life, without commercials. Except you can't skip the cringy parts. Alira's voice trembled, not from weakness, but from the effort of holding steady. Your memories are strange. So much waste. And yet joy. You laugh even when you fall. You find pride in failure. Yeah, Daniel said, still rubbing his temples. That's called being human. We call it resilience. Or stupidity. Honestly, depends on the day. Her long ears tilted, catching his words like they were frequencies. The concept is alien. Failure among my people is punished. To laugh at it is. She trailed off, struggling to find the word. He smirked. Revolutionary? Brave? Dumb? She stared at him, glowing eyes unblinking. Beautiful. He almost choked on his own breath. Beautiful. Lady, you just saw me faceplant at age 12 while trying to impress a girl on a trampoline. That's your definition of beauty. Yes, she said firmly, as though it were law. Before he could make another wisecrack, the chamber trembled. The floor beneath them vibrated, faint at first, but growing into a steady rumble. Aelira stiffened, armor humming back to life as the plates sealed over her glowing skin. Daniel staggered, grabbing onto the strange table with the memory crystals. Whoa, is this ship moving? Or are we under attack? Because I left my How to Pilot Alien Vessels for Dummies book back on Earth. She pressed her hand against a glowing panel on the wall, eyes narrowing. Not attack. Transition. The ship is shifting into the slipstream. He blinked. Slipstream? Is that like hyperspace? Primitive word. But yes. The stars fold, and the void bends. You will feel disoriented. Daniel gripped the table harder. Disoriented? Lady, I already feel like I drank 6 cups of bad coffee and rode a roller coaster backwards. What's next? Spontaneous vomiting. The room lurched, reality stretching like rubber bands around them. For an instant, Daniel saw not the chamber but endless tunnels of light, galaxies unraveling and reweaving in patterns that made his stomach twist. He shut his eyes. Yup, vomiting. Definitely incoming. When the motion stilled, he was on his knees, breathing hard. Aelira stood as if nothing had happened, though the faint curve of her lips betrayed her amusement. You endure poorly. He raised a finger. Correction, I endure with style. Big difference. She crouched in front of him, ears tilted with interest. Your species survives chaos by mocking it. It is deficient. He wiped his mouth. Efficient. Sure. That's what we'll call it. Definitely not panic disguised as humor. A chime echoed through the chamber, low and resonant. Aelira's eyes darkened slightly. They summon me. The Council of Officers. Ah, Daniel said, standing shakily. And I'm guessing they're not big fans of their commander fraternizing with the enemy? Her silence was answer enough. Great, he muttered. So basically, I'm the dirty little secret you're sneaking around with. Romantic. Her gaze softened. They would not understand. But you are necessary. I must know if this path has meaning. He crossed his arms. You know, back on Earth, when someone says, you're necessary, it usually means they need help moving furniture, not redefining galactic peace treaties, with bedroom eyes. She tilted her head, clearly confused, but chose not to ask. Instead, she extended her hand. Come, you will not be seen. She guided him through a hidden corridor that opened behind the memory table, leading into the humming veins of the ship. Daniel tried to keep his mind busy with jokes, anything to distract from the fact that he was essentially sneaking around an alien warship with the woman who had just hijacked his brain. So, quick question, he whispered. If one of your officers catches me, do I pretend to be your what? Prisoner? Boyfriend? Intergalactic plumber? Aelira glanced at him, her glowing eyes calm even as tension radiated from her posture. Silence will keep you safe. He grinned. Not my strong suit, but I'll give it a shot. They reached a panel that slid open silently into a shadowed alcove. She placed him there, the alien equivalent of a closet, before straightening. Wait here. Yeah, sure. No problem, he muttered. I'll just hang out in the cosmic broom closet while you attend your space board meeting. Totally normal day. Through the thin wall, he heard muffled voices, deep and resonant, speaking in the Ledhari tongue. Aelira's tone was steady, authoritative, though occasionally strained. He caught words he couldn't understand, but the rhythm was sharp, like a debate on the edge of breaking. When she returned, her expression was calm, but her ears betrayed her agitation, twitching with tiny flicks. They suspect nothing. For now. Daniel let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Well, that's good, because I don't exactly blend in. I'd make a terrible undercover alien. She studied him for a long moment, then said, Your presence here is dangerous, but so is ignoring what I feel. Wow, Daniel said softly, trying to cover the seriousness with a half-smile. That's probably the nicest thing an alien commander has ever said to me. Granted, you're the only alien commander I've ever met, but still. Aelira stepped closer, her voice low. Do not mistake me. This is no weakness. It is possibility, and possibility is worth any risk. Daniel swallowed hard. Well, guess that makes 2 of us. The ship hummed around them, vast and alive, carrying them deeper into uncharted space. And for the first time since his capture, Daniel didn't feel like a prisoner. He felt like a participant in something far bigger, stranger, and more dangerous than he could ever have imagined. And despite himself, he couldn't stop grinning. "Man," he muttered, "if my squad back on Earth could see me now, they'd never let me live it down." The alarm went off like a chorus of angry stars, low and menacing, vibrating through the hull of the ship. Daniel bolted upright, forgetting in a heartbeat that the last time alarms had sounded for him, it had meant death, capture, or at the very least, a very angry sergeant. He looked around, expecting to see fire or explosions, but Alira stood calm, her glowing eyes cutting through the red warning lights like a blade through silk. "They've detected our deviation," she said, her voice steady, almost eerily so. "Human reinforcements. They are close. Too close." Daniel's stomach twisted. Close as in, bring snacks close, or close as in, get your butt ready for interstellar fireworks close? Her ears twitched. Both, but primarily the second. Daniel groaned. Of course, because nothing says romantic bonding experience like imminent annihilation. Alira's hand found his. She squeezed, firm and grounding. "We leave together. There's no other way." He blinked. "Leave together? I mean, I'm all for teamwork, but last time I checked, humans aren't exactly known for running across alien battlefields holding hands with the enemy commander." She didn't answer, only gestured toward a narrow corridor, a side passage that led deep into the heart of the ship. The floor thrummed beneath their feet, as if the vessel itself understood urgency. Daniel shuffled after her, trying to keep up. "You know," he whispered, "I really hope you're carrying some kind of space first aid kit, because I left my How to Survive a Galactic Firefight pamphlet in my other pants." "Humor will not save you," she said, though the twitch of her lips betrayed amusement. "But it may keep you alive longer than fear." He nodded gravely. Noted. Humor, survival tool. Got it. Right after gravity boots and caffeine. They reached a junction where the ship's corridor split, the walls alive with flowing bioluminescent veins of energy. Alira touched one of them, and the vein pulsed brighter, opening a hidden door leading to a small compartment. Inside were pods, sleek and metallic, humming with potential. "These are escape units," she said. "Small, fast, nearly impossible to track. One person per unit, or two, if necessary." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Oh, if necessary, huh? So that's a polite way of saying, we're definitely cramming two people into something that looks like a coffin." Her ears flicked. "Cozy for survival." He groaned. "Great. Nothing says romantic getaway, like a metal coffin hurtling through subspace." She ignored the jab, moving with precision to open one of the pods. "We do not have time for hesitation. Human reinforcements approach at light speed. Your species believes in bravery, yes? Then prove it. Not for me, for your people." Daniel forced himself into the pod, elbows scraping, knees pressed against cold metal. Yep, nothing like a reminder that humans are physically flexible when squeezed like sardines in intergalactic tins. Alira followed, crouching beside him. The pod's controls lit up under her touch, displaying holographic star maps, trajectories, and warnings. "Hold tight. The slipstream is unstable here. Miscalculation will mean death." Daniel clutched the sides. "Unstable, huh? So, we might survive or explode spectacularly." "That's comforting." She tapped a few panels, and the pod hummed louder. "Focus, human. Distraction is fatal." He tried. Really, he did. But as the ship lurched violently, twisting in the void, he couldn't resist. "You know, Alira, if we survive this, we should totally start a band. Call it Humans and Aliens, the Galactic Mix. Our first single could be Escape from Death in D minor." Her ears twitched, the closest thing to a laugh she would allow. "You have a strange sense of timing." The pod shot forward, bursting into the slipstream. Light bent, stars streaked past them like scattered diamonds, and Daniel's stomach flipped in ways he didn't think possible. Yep, definitely gonna need that band now. Or at least a strong anti-nausea pill. Alira's hands moved over the controls, with calm precision. This is the hardest part. We must navigate the collapse of a nearby wormfold. Misjudgment will tear us apart. Daniel swallowed. You know, if I die, tell the story well. Make sure they know I died cracking jokes in a tiny alien coffin hurtling through unstable subspace. Heroic but hilarious. She ignored him, her focus absolute. The pod shuddered, bending through the folds of space as the galaxy itself seemed to resist their passage. Stars twisted into ribbons of color, and Daniel's mind raced to comprehend what was happening. Whoa, okay. This is officially cooler than anything in Earth simulations, and much more nausea-inducing. Suddenly, the pod jolted violently, throwing him against the side. Hands! On something solid. Alira's voice snapped, calm but commanding. He grabbed her arm instead. Not what I had in mind, but okay. Her glowing eyes met his. Do not let humor weaken you now. Concentrate. He nodded, trying to square his shoulders, even as the slipstream ripped past, tossing the pod like a toy. Concentrate, concentrate. Remember, humans survive chaos by mocking it. So mock chaos. Yes, that will help. Alira ignored his muttering, moving the controls in ways he couldn't follow, her long ears flicking at every tiny vibration. Finally, the pod stabilized, drifting free of the collapsing wormfold into calm space. Daniel exhaled, muscles trembling. Well, that was fun. In a I may puke and die sort of way. But fun. Alira turned to him, her eyes glowing softly in the quiet. You are alive. You endure. He wiped sweat from his brow. Barely. But hey, endurance is half my charm. The other half? Terrible jokes. She studied him, unyielding yet curious. You mock, you fear, you survive. Perhaps your species is worthy. Daniel grinned weakly. Oh, stop it. You're making me blush in zero gravity. Her hand brushed his once more, a fleeting connection in the infinite void. Do not mistake this for weakness. It is acknowledgement. He leaned back, letting himself absorb the moment. Acknowledgement, huh? I like it. Way better than you're about to die horribly. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, and the ship that had been their prison, their home, and their battlefield faded behind them. Daniel realized, for the first time, that survival and connection were not mutually exclusive. And somehow, with Alira beside him, even the chaos of war could carry a spark of something dangerously close to hope. He muttered under his breath, Man, Earth's going to kill me when they find out how I spent my assignment. Alira's ears flicked at his words, and for a moment, just a moment, she allowed herself a small, almost imperceptible smile. The void stretched before them, infinite and uncharted, and they were hurtling into it together. The stars were quiet now, stretching infinitely in every direction, as if the galaxy itself had paused to watch them. Daniel sat beside Alira on the bridge of a small escape vessel, hands brushing occasionally, each contact a promise and a challenge all at once. They had been through fire, collapse, and chaos, and somehow, against every expectation, they had survived. Okay, Daniel said, voice cracking just a little from exhaustion. So, if we're honest, we just evaded an entire fleet, navigated collapsing wormfolds, and now we're floating in uncharted space. Are you feeling heroic yet? Or is that just me? Alira's long ears twitched, the closest thing she allowed to humor. Heroism is relative, but you survived. That is commendable. That is rare. Daniel grinned. Rare, huh? Sounds like a compliment. I'll take it. I think my mom would be proud. Your humor persists, she said softly, even in extremity. It is human. He leaned back, letting the seat cradle him. Yup, human through and through. The stubborn, sarcastic type. Guess that's why I'm still alive. Or insane. Maybe both. Alira's hand slid into his, their fingers intertwining naturally, no hesitation. Both, perhaps. And yet you endure. You accept the unknown and move forward. That is why I chose you. That is why I took this risk. Daniel swallowed. I didn't just survive because you picked me. I survived because I stopped thinking like a soldier and started thinking like a person. And you, well, You showed me how alien survival could include something like hope. She looked at him, glowing eyes soft, unwavering. Hope, yes. You taught me the value of flexibility, humor, and vulnerability. I believe my duty was absolute. Now I see that connection is equally essential. Daniel raised an eyebrow. So, we're like teaching each other life lessons while flying through space in this stolen alien pod. Romantic, in a really chaotic sort of way. Alira's ears twitched, almost imperceptibly. Romance is not forbidden, but discretion remains necessary. Discretion. Right, Daniel muttered. I'm excellent at discretion. I mean, if anyone asks, we were just testing gravity boots. That's it. Totally scientific. They shared a small laugh, brief but genuine, and the tension that had followed them since the first meeting eased into something lighter, something tethered by trust. Daniel realized he no longer felt like a prisoner, or even a soldier on display. He felt like a partner, navigating not only the stars but the fragile, complicated thing that had grown between them. Suddenly, a holographic panel flickered to life in front of them. It displayed a galaxy map with a blinking red cluster, an enemy fleet. Daniel leaned forward, scanning the display. Ah, the welcoming committee. I assumed they didn't get the memo that we're already gone. They will pursue, Alira said, but the slipstream is now under our control. We can evade, and perhaps we can create a sanctuary, somewhere neither humans nor let Hari have dominance. A place to exist, together. Daniel exhaled, relief and exhilaration swirling in his chest. A secret hideout in space, huh? Sounds like a vacation with slightly more peril than usual. I'm in. She smiled faintly, her glowing skin radiating warmth. You trust easily. That is rare. And dangerous. Trust, he repeated, is underrated. And apparently, really fun when it comes with alien companions and interstellar chase sequences. Their hands tightened, the subtle pressure a comfort, a promise. Daniel realized how much he had changed in the weeks since his capture. Courage no longer meant recklessness. Humor no longer masked fear. It shaped his perspective, gave him strength. He understood the depth of empathy, the weight of connection, the strange beauty of vulnerability. Alira's voice pulled him from thought. We have cleared the pursuit. Sensors show no immediate threat. We are free for now. Daniel leaned back in his seat, looking out at the vast expanse. Free. Strange word, isn't it? I used to think freedom was running drills on Earth or surviving a skirmish. Turns out, it's a little more complicated. Feels a lot like choice. And knowing someone will choose to be with you, no matter what. Alira reached over, resting her head lightly against a shoulder. You speak like a philosopher, human. Perhaps the galaxy has shaped you after all. He chuckled softly, tilting his head toward her. Maybe. Or maybe I just finally stopped thinking I had to face it all alone. The stars blurred past them as the vessel drifted deeper into uncharted space, a tiny speck among infinite constellations. Daniel let himself relax, letting go of fear, judgment, and expectation. He had survived war, alien interrogation, the impossible challenge of connection. And in return, he had found something extraordinary. Trust, companionship, and the delicate spark of love that defied reason, species, and circumstance. Do you think we'll be hunted forever? He asked lightly. Alira's hand tightened around his. Perhaps, but together we endure. That is all that matters. Daniel smiled, a genuine, wide smile that reached his eyes. Endure. I like that. And maybe, just maybe, we'll make a galaxy or two a little more interesting while we're at it. She inclined her head, ears flicking with what he suspected was amusement. Perhaps. And perhaps you will teach me the value of laughter fully. I'll start the lesson now, Daniel said, grinning. Step 1. Never underestimate the power of a terrible joke to save your life. Step 2. He trailed off, letting the endless void stretch before them, knowing some things were better discovered together. As the pod sailed into the unknown, a new chapter of their lives began, one defined not by war, or duty, or fear, but by choice, connection, and the infinite possibilities of the stars. Daniel realized, finally, that survival was not enough. Living, And choosing to live with someone who understood the weight of every heartbeat was the true victory. And for the first time since his capture, he felt completely, undeniably free. The end.